Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA, and today I am back in New York City, and today we're going to be eating at the highest reviewed, the highest rated Italian restaurant in all of New York City. Now, New York City is filled with great Italian food, and out of all the Italian restaurants, many people say that the best Italian restaurant in New York City is Carbone in the West Village. However, I've been trying to get into Carbone for a while, and to no avail. It's really hard to get a reservation, and walk-in almost impossible. On top of that, some people say that Carbone is overrated. After all, it lost its Michelin star last year, and it kind of has mixed reviews online if you read the comments. But today, I decided to take you guys to the next best thing, maybe even better, which is not the most famous Italian restaurant, but the highest rated one on Google. And that is, how do I say this? L'Artusi? Now, this place might not have the brand recognition of Carbone, but unlike Carbone, it has a 4.5 rating on Google and over 1,500 reviews. That's pretty good for so many reviews. Anyways, let's go check it out. Come on, let's go. Alright, so we're seated at the highest rated Italian restaurant in all of New York City. We were able to get a seat outside, so it's actually a really nice outdoor seating space. I'm glad that this outdoor seating component of COVID has remained. Even as the pandemic is over, I'm glad that they've retained the outdoor seating, sort of indoor space hybrid components. Let's take a look at the menu. Now, I am super not cultured, I don't know how to say this, L'Artusi, but yeah, I mean, based on reviews, I hear everything here is good. I especially hear this bucatini is good. Unfortunately, I cannot eat crab, so I can't get the bucatini nero, but when I was not allergic at the time, this would have been pretty good. But I also hear good things about this spaghetti, and I hear it's really like a different take from the red sauce spaghetti that most people are used to. So, you know, I'm really craving spaghetti, so maybe let's do this today. And if this is the best Italian restaurant in the city based on reviews, maybe we can see their take on it. Maybe we can also throw in an appetizer, maybe focaccia would be good. And I don't see it on the menu. I hope they have it, and it's not just a dinner item, but I hear their olive oil cake is a must here. So let's, I don't see it on the menu, but let's see if we can order that. Let me do the focaccia.
Absolutely.
What are ramps?
Ramps are going to be in the same family as like a leek or a scallion.
Okay.
They're in season right now, so if you, now that you saw that our menu, you'll probably have that thing where you're like, oh, I see ramps everywhere. It shows up seasonally in some of our dishes, and it enhances our spaghetti. Our spaghetti's a little bit different. It's made with a Parmesan stock, so it's going to be white in color. And then we have really thin garlic slices. There's red chili flakes in there. The ramp, and it's topped with breadcrumbs for texture.
Nice. It really ramps it up, I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm not the first one who saw that joke, I'm sure. Alright, I'll get the spaghetti. I hear that's
Lovely,
good.
yeah.
Do you have the olive oil cake?
I do have that. It'll be on our dessert menu once you finish the meal, and then we can drop it off when you make your way there.
The server described everything beautifully. You can really detect that he kind of has some passion for the menu and for the restaurant. So far, I gotta say, I'm excited for the food, but the service is top notch. Service isn't everything. You know, I grew up eating at some more dingy Chinese restaurants, so I always prioritize taste over service, but it absolutely helps, and it definitely helps to make a good impression, so can't wait to eat. Okay, so we just got our first item, focaccia bread. When they brought it at first, I almost thought this was like cornbread, just the way they cut it and the way it looks. But this focaccia looks really good. I like the artistic way they cut it and the way it's baked. It's got some nice garlic and herbs baked right into the crust. And I'm guessing this is like a spicy olive oil that accompanies it. Let's give it a try. Oh, wow. Wow, I gotta say, that's some pretty good focaccia. The best part especially is this part on top. This charred baked garlic and herbs on top. The bottom half tastes nice and spongy, like a decently good baked bread, but this top part is just so salty and garlicky and herby. It's just amazing. I kind of just almost want to eat the tops. Like, have you guys seen that Seinfeld episode where I think it was George who proposed a startup where you only sell muffin tops? They should only sell the top of the focaccia. Although, I think that was not the right move. When you only eat the top, it's a little bit too buttery, a little bit too intense in flavor. I guess you really do need to pair it with the bread on the bottom. Let's try it with the olive oil, why don't we? You know, actually, that's not olive oil at all. It's some sort of like pepper sauce water. It tastes nice, but to be honest, I kind of prefer the focaccia on its own. It's good though, maybe you'll like it. I will say though, it's a little bit chilly being outside. I'm not sure if sitting outside was the right call. They do have these heat lamps, but it's not really positioned directly above me, so let's warm up, why don't we? Sorry, New Yorkers, ride or die. All right, spaghetti next.
Hello.
Hello.
Spaghetti for you.
Oh, thank you.
Enjoy.
And look, once I put my jacket on, the spaghetti arrived. So let's take a quick look. Now, I would wager that anyone in the Western Hemisphere and Europe, maybe even most people in the world, have had spaghetti at some point. But when you think spaghetti, you usually think of like a red spaghetti, right? And if we indeed were able to go to Carbone, that's probably what we would have gotten. But the server really hyped up this spaghetti here at this place. This is more of a white spaghetti using ramp, which is kind of like leeks. Reviews say that this spaghetti is out of this world. And what's interesting is this whole thing is completely vegetarian. Not sure if it's vegan, but I believe it is meat-free. All right, let's give it a try. I've never been the best spaghetti twirler, so don't judge me if I kind of go to town on this Asian noodle style. Oh wow. Let's eat more of this before it gets cold. Honestly, I gotta say, maybe I'm just not in the know. I've never been to Italy. I've only had Italian food in the Western Hemisphere, but I don't think I've ever had a pasta dish like this in my whole life. So I will admit that when I looked at it, when I first got it, I didn't necessarily think too much of it. You know, it kind of looks like a bunch of plain noodles. There's no meat, it's just leeks and some breadcrumbs on top. But actually, let me try to find some better lighting. There is a decent amount of sauce on the bottom. As you can see, there is a decent amount of sauce, and the sauce was actually already evenly coating all the noodles. So the noodles were actually covered in sauce, but it was so subtle that you couldn't really see it. Like, it wasn't like your typical Italian restaurant, like your fettuccine alfredo, just basically doused in like cream and butter. It was like really gently covering every single pasta, every single noodle. And the ramp, which the server said is kind of like leeks, he said these are in season, which is why they have these on the menu right now. Really great leek flavor. It really just tastes like a very leek dish. The joke I made earlier, I'm gonna recycle it. It really ramped up the spaghetti. Leeks, the garlic butter sauce over the noodles, excellent. These breadcrumbs, they just add like a completely different dimension. Really add like that necessary crunch so that you don't feel like you're just eating like some buttered plain noodles. No matter how good, nobody wants to just only eat a plate of noodles, but the breadcrumbs just really add like a whole nother dimension texture-wise. I know it might be hard to believe because, you know, I know my camera's not really showing it properly. I know like it doesn't really look all that great based on the light and based on my camera, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. It tastes excellent. And this pasta too, perfectly al dente. Like, they just hit like the perfect doneness level for the pasta. It's got that perfect chew, that perfect texture. The only thing is, for the highest rated Italian restaurant in New York City, I'm not sure if this is homemade pasta. It doesn't really strike me as homemade pasta. Like, it doesn't quite have that heterogeneity. It kind of looks like it's, you know, dry pasta rehydrated, but don't let that turn you off. The flavors are just incredible. Who knew that something that looks so simple would just taste so complex and so good? Like, you're looking at spaghetti and, you know, your first instinct might be, spaghetti, come on, I can make that at home. Just pour some pre-made ragu sauce on top of some noodles, but trust me, you've never had spaghetti like this. Just look. I absolutely cleaned the plate with this. Let's even mop up these breadcrumbs, why don't we? And not a moment too soon, dessert has arrived. Now, there might have been not quite a consensus online for which of the main courses were the best, but for dessert, this olive oil cake was pretty much unanimous. Let's see if I can contribute to that unanimity. I mean, the cake is good. You know, I'm not gonna say it's not good. It definitely tastes like a solid cake. After eating that spaghetti, I will say that the cake was a little bit underwhelming. Maybe the spaghetti was just so good. My expectations were too high for the cake. I would say the cake is a little bit dry, a little bit powdery, not quite as moist as I would like for a cake. So let's try mixing some of the ingredients. I feel like these are supposed to go together. Ooh, that creme fraiche is really, really good. I almost feel like the creme fraiche is really the star of the show. I feel like the cake is very like bland and very dry and a little bland, and I feel like it's almost like a perfect blank slate to eat this creme fraiche with. Eating the creme fraiche on its own, a little bit too rich. Usually you would think that the cake is the star and the cream complements the cake. I feel like it's almost the opposite here. The cream is the star and the cake is just like, you know, some cardboard they give you to eat it with. This is like a raisin marmalade, I think he said. Let's try this. That's pretty nice. And I don't usually like raisins, but that tastes really, really good. It's almost like eating candy. It almost reminds me of like a Jolly Rancher or Sour Patch Kids with only the gummy and a little bit of the sourness inside. That's really tasty. Let's see if we can get a perfect bite. A little bit of cake, a little bit of creme fraiche, and some raisin marmalade. This looks like the perfect bite. Wow. Oh, wow. Let's take a second perfect bite. Let's see if we can take a perfecter bite. Wow. Wow. When you combine everything together, it's just perfect. I started out with the cake. I was like, the cake is kind of dry. Then I went with the cream. The cream was good. The raisin marmalade was good. But then once you start combining flavors, it just elevates everything. I kind of take back what I said about the cake. You don't want the cake to be too intense because you want everything to work in harmony. I totally get it now. I apologize for the error of my ways. But yeah, anyways, we need to hit the road. I'm gonna finish knocking out this cake now, but yeah, I think we have enough now to reach a conclusion, you might say. You know, we came here for this video to eat at the highest rated Italian restaurant in New York City based upon rating and based upon volume of comments, just purely based upon ratings, not based upon clout or reputation or anything. And I gotta say, I came in here with really high expectations. Best reviewed Italian restaurant in New York City. Like, how could my expectations not be high? I gotta say, everything I ordered just knocked it out of the park. The focaccia was buttery and delicious and garlicky and great. That spaghetti, I gotta come back ASAP and eat that spaghetti again. And that dessert, I started out thinking, okay, you know, it's a little dry, it's a little mid, but once you eat it the right way, probably one of the top 10, maybe even top 5 desserts I've ever had. But anyways, we're gonna finish knocking out this cake and taking more perfect bites until there's none left, and then we need to hit the road. But thank you so much for watching. Now, of course, New York is a big city and there's tons of great eats, tons of places well known and under the radar, so let me know in the comments which restaurant you think is the best Italian restaurant in New York, because great minds eat alike. If you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, that way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. Until next time, I'll see you later.